Alright, so the last week has been rather interesting. Had to deal with Toei. No, I'm not gonna let that go. Screw 'em. But also had some positives, so that's nice.
Hold on. What happened?
Long story, I had to re-upload the video on Monday because some stupid production company in the past. Let's talk about this game.
Yeah, Genesys, you're calling it, right? Weird named game.
Yeah, still don't know about the name, but either way, let's get on with character creation. Looks like there's 7 steps, but a few of these steps don't seem all that worth delving into. One is motivation, which I think we can skip. The last is gear, appearance, and personality, which we'll need to step on, but not necessarily go into depth. So, first step is to determine your background. Now, if you're a guy who's played a lot of games, you'll assume that this gives you statistics or abilities. No, this is just a roleplay thing. There's absolutely no benefit to this, it just flushes out your idea for the character. Okay, so skipping step 1. Step 2. Select character archetype or species. Now, a lot of this depends on the setting your game master chooses. For example, if you've got an Old West setting, you shouldn't play a space alien, right? There's various kinds of archetypes though, and they have a general layout. An average human has essentially 2 in every characteristic we talked about last week, with the wound threshold of 10 plus their brawn, and a strain threshold of 10 plus their willpower. A starting experience pool of 110 points. The archetype starts out with 1 rank in 2 different non-career skills, which do not take from the experience points pool, but can't increase any skill higher than 2 at character creation. They also start with the ability Ready for Anything, which lets them move a story point from the GM pool to the player's pool, which can be done at any point. There's also Laborer, which is next, 2 points in everything but Brawn, which has 3, and Willpower, which has 1. Wounds are 12 plus Brawn, while Strain is 8 plus Willpower. They start with 100 experience points. Skills are a 1 extra in Athletics, but it can't be brought above 2 at character creation. Tough as Nails is the ability. It allows them to spend a story point to essentially force their critical injury table roll to count as a 1 once per session. Next is Intellectual, 2 in all stats but Agility, which is at 1, and Intellect, which is at 3. Wounds is 8 plus Brawn, while Strain is 12 plus Willpower. Like Laborer, they get 100 experience points. Knowledge is their starting skill, which follows the previous archetype's restrictions, no higher than 2 at character creation. Brilliant is their ability. You can spend a story point to do a knowledge check at your intelligence score, which honestly sounds like a negative in certain situations. Aristocrat is up next, 1 in Brawn, 3 in Presence, 10 for Strain and Wound, 100 experience, bonus to the Cool skill, which is certainly an aim. Forceful Personality is the ability, spend a stories point, and you'll deal double the amount of strain damage or strain healing that you would deal. Apparently, things like that are skill-based, which I'm weirdly okay with. Next up is careers, which look like starting classes, sort of. Each one is based on certain roles, if I'm understanding this. Careers will give career skills, bonus in certain skills. Looks like there's quite a few. Entertainer gets charm, coordination, deception, discipline, leadership, melee, skullduggery, and stealth. Looks like there's multiple kinds of melee and ranged combat skills as well, so that needs a little reading into if you decide to play this. Explorer gets athletics, brawl, coordination, deception, perception, ranged, stealth, and survival. Healer gets cool, discipline, knowledge, medicine, melee, resilience, survival, and vigilance. Leader gets charm, coercion, cool, discipline, leadership, melee, negotiate, and perception. Scoundrel gets charm, cool, coordination, deception, ranged, skullduggery, stealth, and streetwise. Socialite gets charm, cool, deception, range, knowledge, negotiate, perception, streetwise, and vigilance. Soldier gets athletics, brawl, coercion, melee, perception, ranged, survival, and vigilance. Tradesperson gets athletics, brawl, discipline, mechanics, negotiate, perception, resilience, and streetwise. Then there's setting-based careers too. Hacker, fighter, pilot, knight, mad scientist, priest, druid, starship captain, and wizard are what's in the core rulebook. Some of these are for multiple different types of settings, but now we'll go into experience points. Now, first is improving your characteristics. You'll spend 10 times the number you're bringing that characteristic to. For example, if you're bringing an ability score from 2 to 3, you'll spend 30 points. If you bring the same ability from 3 to 4, you'll spend another 40. These each add on top of one another. So if you go from 3 to 5, you'll spend 90 points. Skills can also be upgraded, but nothing can be brought above 2 at character creation. For career skills, it'll cost 5 times the rank you're bringing the skill to. For non-career skills, take the same cost and add 5 as well for each rank. And these costs are sequential, so you'll take one, then buy the other, then the cost of the next. And that includes taking a rank from 0 to 1. So for a career skill going from 0 to 2, it'll cost 15 points, 25 points for non-career skills. Then there's talents. Talents are those abilities I mentioned when talking about the archetypes. They go from ranks 1 to 5. They'll cost a number of experience points, equivalent to their rank times 5. Chapter 4 of the book has a list of all the talents in this book. But now we've got to go into derived attributes. Wound threshold is essentially your HP, it's obviously brawn based. Strain threshold is your mental HP, it's based off your willpower. The numbers added to your brawn and willpower depend on your archetype. Next is defense. Defense makes you harder to hit. This is mostly based on your equipment. Soak value, however, is how much damage you can absorb. Looks like the default is your brawn rating. This can be increased with armor, and this flat number reduces the amount of damage you take. Next we got character motivations, which doesn't really add another mechanic to the game and are all based around your roleplaying, which this game is built around, so I would actually put some effort into this part. It recommends figuring out your character's desires, fears, strengths, flaws, and reasons for being an adventurer, which is also states that they can change or be kept a secret, and there's apparently mechanics for that. Last step, gear, appearance, and personality. In my opinion, personality should be with the last step, but I can forgive that. Gear, however, that's important. It asks that default starting gear be set to certain settings, but it also says you can start with 500 of whatever currency is in your setting. I'm thinking on how to make a Roman fantasy setting, which I might need to try this out someday. But now's a good time to get into the review score. It took 2 videos to get into this, and the biggest complaint I have is how complex the dice system actually is. This system rewards a game master for being creative, and I like that it does that. Now, what's the score I'll give it? Probably a 93%. This is a good system that rewards imagination and creativity. It's something that very much appeals to me as a forever GM. From a player's side, it's not really something you can just munchkin, as it does focus on the narrative, as that's what its dice are called. Hell, I didn't even look into the other book I have, the Player's Guide, which just adds more for players, as this one has a very short list of all the options. It has more archetypes, more careers, more talents, so I recommend getting both if you can get one. Like I said in my last video, this game is still available by Fantasy Flight Games, and I believe they're still updating this too, so go take a look. Now, I need to get back to painting, so shove off.